Milwaukee Brewers baseball on FSN Wisconsin is presented by Plains Farm and Fleet. You'll always find value at Farm and Fleet. By Piggly Wiggly, shop the pig and save. And by Dodge, grab life. Another sellout crowd, huge anticipation here at Miller Park. The Cubs and the Brewers, final game of the series. And before we get started, let's get an update from New York. Let's check in with Craig Kashawn.
Okay, Brian, thanks very much. Just underway out at Shea. Almost an hour rain delay between the Marlins and the Mets, but they are just underway. No score in the top of the first inning. It's Scott Olson against Oliver Perez. And by the way, Olson is a Chicago native. Let's see if he can help out the Milwaukee Brewers here in this one. Also, something of note, Carlos Beltran is battling some sore ribs, so the Mets not completely healthy either. Not sure if he'll get through this whole game as well. So we'll keep an eye on it. Updates throughout the ball game. The Marlins and the Mets. First pitch. Let's go back to Brian.
All right, Craig, thanks a lot. CC Sabathia ready to take the ball once again on 3 days rest, and he will face pretty much all of the regulars for the Chicago Cubs, with the exception of Michael Hoffpower in right field. Mark DeRosa still battling a calf injury, and Ronnie Cedeno will be at second, with Henry Blanco catching. Giovanni Soto is still banged up with an injured hand. But Lou Piniello's lineup pretty much intact. And we are ready to go, and the first pitch of the ball game is in there for a strike, and away we go from Miller Park. The most important game of the season. And we've been saying that for the last month.
Well, this one is, partner. I mean, there's no tomorrow. The Brewers got to get this one. This is what you play for all summer long, to put yourself in a position like this.
Sabathia is 10-2 this year. His only 2 losses as a Brewer against the Chicago Cubs. Alfonso Soriano, Ryan Theriot, and Derek Lee to start it. The 0-2. Home plate umpire this afternoon is Bill Miller behind the plate. Jerry Meals, Gary Darling, and Paul Immel around the bases. Soriano did not start yesterday. He started the opener and did not perform very well in left field and was hitless at the plate. He was 0 for 4. 2 stints on the disabled list this year. Soriano missed 6 weeks with a broken hand. A little flare. Fielder giving chase. And he's got it. Basket catch to get it started this afternoon. Here's how the Brewers line up defensively, courtesy of Rico, Ryan Braun, Mike Cameron, and Corey Hart in the outfield. Craig Counsell, J.J. Hardy, Ray Durham, and Prince Fielder around the horn, with Jason Kendall behind the plate, starting his 149th game of the year. And the numbers on CC Sabathia.
Outstanding numbers, and he's 5-0 here at Miller Park in 9 starts, a 2.03 earned run average. Making his 3rd start against the Cubs this year, and no wins and 1 loss for CC. Can't think of a better man to have on the mound. I mean, you think of any pitcher that you can take in all of baseball right now. If the Brewers could, they'd take Sabathia.
Well, the Brewers have only lost 3 times with Sabathia on the mound as Theriot rolls to Durham. Took a loss at the Cubs at Cincinnati. The other time the Cubs beat the Brewers, Sabathia no decision.
Now the Piggly Wiggly scouting report on CC. Cutter early in the count. The Cubs, last time that Sabathia was on the mound against them, really taking advantage of first pitch fastballs, locating the fastball pretty well. Did a nice job against Soriano, and as we saw in that graphic earlier, Soriano good numbers against Sabathia. 5 home runs and a .364 career batting average.
Two gone for Derek Lee. Into right field, Corey Hart. He's got it. A quick inning, just what Sabathia was looking for to get it started. 3 up, 3 down. We head to the bottom of the first. Interim manager Dale Swain, he has shown impressive leadership in the middle of a hot pennant race, taking this team over with 12 games remaining in the season. And Dale's lineup brought to you by Chrysler with Mike Cameron, Ray Durham, and Ryan Braun at the top. Prince Fielder, J.J. Hardy, Corey Hart in the middle of the order, with Craig Counsell, Jason Kendall, and C.C. Sabathia rounding it out. And it's Angel Guzman on the mound for the Chicago Cubs. And Rock, today Lou Piniella is going to go with his bullpen by committee to get through this one.
Yeah, it's going to be anybody and everybody down in that bullpen except for maybe Carlos Marmol. He's winless in 13 big league starts. First one this year, the Brewers faced him back in Wrigley and hit him around pretty good, 2/3 of an inning, and he gave up 3 runs against the Crew.
Guzman coming off Tommy John surgery last August, just activated a few weeks back. Mike Cameron turns one around on the first pitch, a base hit. And Milwaukee with a lead man aboard quickly here at the bottom of the first inning.
Boy, how important is it for the Brewers to get on top early today? Don't want to play from behind with all that's at stake. And Mike Cameron's showing a good approach, taking that one right back through the middle. Guzman throws very hard. I mean, he throws in the mid-90s. Not a lot of movement on it.
Guzman making his first major league start since May of '07. Facing the 14-year veteran Ray Durham. Durham's been slowed somewhat by a hamstring injury. So not running at his normal pace, but Durham certainly has provided a lot of punch offensively for the Crew. He's a .290 hitter this year. 6 home runs and 45 runs batted in. And a .319 hitter in the month of September.
And Ray has been tremendous here at Miller Park this year. Now, a big difference between his road and home splits. And he's really come up with some big hits at home.
Durham with 3 home runs as a Brewer, 13 RBIs since being acquired right after the All-Star break. Brewers picked him up from the Giants. Matter of fact, the Brewers were playing the Giants in that series. And Ray Durham was not in the lineup for San Francisco, curiously. Turns out he was on the plane with the Brewers when they left San Francisco to St. Louis. And it was Durham who waived the no-trade clause to join this club to play in moments just like this.
Now, this is what makes all those long days in spring training and the dog days in mid-August and September worthwhile. They would have played a game like this last game of the year.
Another huge crowd here at Miller Park. They passed the 3 million mark yesterday. Incredible numbers at the gate this year. Mark Atanasio, the Brewers owner, said before the season that his expectations are 3 million at the gate and 90 wins from the ball club. And the 90th win today might just get it done.
That's exactly what they need.
Brewers come in at 89 and 72.
Can't rely on the Mets to lose. Got to take care of business right here.
2-2 to Ray Durham. Now before the game, Mark Atanasio having a chat with new manager Dale Swain. What a moment for both of those individuals.
Now, talking to Dale before the game, you wouldn't know if it was the last game of spring training or the last game of the season today. And with all that's at risk, all that's at stake, I mean, he has been a nice calming influence this last week.
Durham strikes out. Big curveball from Guzman. And 1 gone here in the first inning. Set the defense for the Cubs. Brought to you by Rico. It's Alfonso Soriano in left, Reed Johnson in center with Michael Hoffpower in right field. Aramis Ramirez, Ryan Serio, Ronnie Cedeno, and Derek Lee around the infield. And Henry Blanco gets the start today for Soto. And the Piggly Wiggly scouting report on Guzman.
Pig wants to know how long he's going to go. Not too long. I mean, he hasn't started in quite some time. 2007. Got the big fastball, 94 to 96. He's got a curve and a changeup to go with it.
Only his 33rd major league game as he faces Ryan Braun here with 1 out. Only 26 years of age. The original plan was to start Carlos Zambrano today and let him go a couple of innings. But instead, Zambrano threw on the side. Zambrano will pitch game 2 of the postseason for the Cubs. So to the bullpen Piniella goes to try to piece together 9 innings today. But you can't be fooled by the numbers of Angel Guzman. He's a guy who has great stuff. The command is the issue, and certainly the endurance.
Yeah, if he's able to throw that curveball over for a strike and have a decent changeup, he could be tough. I mean, he's a guy that he could conceivably give Lou Piniella 5 innings today. That based on how many pitches he throws early. But coming off Tommy John surgery, you don't expect him to throw too many.
Guzman trying to make the improbable comeback from Tommy John surgery in 1 calendar year. Not many guys do that. But he started his season in August in the minor leagues, going through a rehab scenario, and pitched well. He made 4 rehab starts in the minor leagues, gave up just 1 earned run in 9 innings. Oh, 0-2 to Ryan Braun with a runner at first. Just missed.
Not a bad pitch. And 4-seam fastball right on the outside corner, just a little bit off. Bill Miller, home plate umpire. Tough pitch to take with 2 strikes. My goodness. Might have been low.
And Braun down on strikes. And right back to it. 96 miles an hour from Guzman. And back-to-back strikeouts for the Brewers in the first.
Key is for Guzman, like any pitcher, get ahead and then try to get hitters to swing at pitches out of the strike zone. Brewers going to have to figure out a way to be patient. It's got to be tough. Given all that they're playing for here today, you just got to find a way to stay back, relax, and swing at strikes.
Two gone. Cameron still at first, and here's Prince Fielder. Trying to extend a 17-game hit streak. Longest of the year for the Brewers. J.J. Hardy had that mark at 16. Fielder with a couple of hits yesterday has raised his batting average to .277. And during the streak has 6 home runs and 19 RBIs. Another curveball in there for a strike. Fielder disagrees with Bill Miller. Quickly 0-2.
Yeah, Prince hitting over 400 on this hitting streak. 27 for 66. Not too bad. Just when the Brewers needed it most, he's been a spark plug in that offense.
That one gets by Blanco. And Cameron moves into scoring position on the wild pitch. Guzman went back to the curveball.
Now he's got a good one. And if he keeps it down in that location with 2 strikes, it can be tough. Question is, can he get ahead in the count on a consistent enough basis to be able to throw it? When he leaves it up in the strike zone, it's a pitch that the Brewers are going to be able to handle pretty well. To get Prince to chase. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mike Cameron started the inning with a single to center field, and then back-to-back strikeouts of Durham and Braun. Fielder with 34 home runs this year. Hit 28 his rookie season.
And of course 50 last year, was the youngest player to ever hit 50 home runs in a single season at the age of 23. 34 long balls, 102 runs batted in. And he strikes out. Guzman got him on a curve. 3 straight strikeouts after a lead runner aboard.
Still no score here at Miller Park, but Dale Swaim says if anyone thinks that this team isn't ready for a big game, he hasn't realized, they don't realize that they've been playing big games all week.
The fact of the matter is, I think they've all kind of somewhat been in the situation for the last week anyway, knowing that their backs were against the wall every single night, and you know this thing could get out of hand, and they obviously performed very well to win 5 games in a row, and in the fashion we won them. So they've been handling the pressure fine, obviously.
So the obvious question was, how are the guys feeling heading into today's game? I was talking with J.J. Hardy in the clubhouse earlier today. He said he didn't get much sleep last night, but he didn't think it was really because of any nerves. He says he's just more excited and anxious. They've been waiting for this really their entire career, really their whole lives. J.J. Hardy was born in 1982. And Brian and Bill, I also talked to Robin Yount, and he said the toughest part about being in a situation like this, something he experienced in 1982, was the game cannot get here fast enough. He has every bit of confidence in this team that they have prepared well, and they are ready to be successful today.
No doubt. I mean, Robin Yount would be the first one to go ask a question about this situation, because the Brewers had to win last game of the year in Baltimore. They had that 3-game lead with 4 to play. Always want to make it interesting here in Milwaukee, don't we?
That was back in 1982, and there's so many similarities between that finish to the regular season and what we have here today. It was Don Sutton, who was a late season acquisition, an August acquisition as a matter of fact, who pitched that final game and sent the Brewers to the win, and of course to the postseason, eventually all the way to the World Series.
And who's going to be the Robin Yount today to hit 2 home runs?
Who will step up?
Yes,
that is the big question.
Robin did.
2-2 the count on Aramis Ramirez. Pulls one foul. Ramirez has had a great season. Going to finish as the Cubs leader in RBIs. 287 batting average this year with 27 home runs and 111 runs batted in. 6 straight years driving in 100 runs.
He's something else, and he's really improved his defense since coming over to the Chicago Cubs. He was considered to be a defensive liability with the Pirates, but he's certainly changed that.
Former teammates of Dale Swaim in Pittsburgh. Aramis Ramirez.
And never gets cheated up there at the plate. Doesn't matter what the count is. Looking to hit every pitch out of the ballpark.
Cubs at 97-63. They've wrapped up the division and the best record in the National League. So they'll have home field advantage throughout until the World Series. There's a base hit to left. Ramirez just reaches out and serves one.
Well, you would think a guy with a big swing like that would be very susceptible to a changeup, and that's what Sabathia gave him right there. 87 miles an hour in the changeup. Still able to keep the bat in the hitting zone long enough to dump it into left. Aramis Ramirez is one of those that are either real hot or real cold, and he's been swinging the bat well lately.
First base runner for the Cubs. First hit of the game against Sabathia. And here's Reed Johnson. They'll ask if he went. Yes, he did, says Jerry Meals, the base umpire. Johnson's been a great pickup for Chicago. They got him from the Blue Jays. Endured a number of back injuries, had a lot of back issues as a Blue Jay, and they released him. Cubs picked him up prior to the season starting. Breaks his bat, little flare. And Durham will make the play for out number 1.
Notice CC Sabathia very careful with first pitch fastballs at his Cubs club. Last time that they hooked up here at Miller Park, a lot of first pitch fastball hits. Soriano with a couple of home runs on the fastball. So he's throwing the cutter, he's throwing the changeup early in the count.
Cubs are in a pretty comfortable seat here today. They certainly want to win. You know, they affected the postseason a great deal. That one goes right between the legs of Fielder, and instead of a possible double play, the Cubs are going to have runners at the corners with one out.
Well, an easy double play it would have been. Prince, all he had to do was step on the bag and throw to second base. A one hopper right between the wickets. They got to play solid defense. Brought the tailgate up a little bit too fast and into right field. Can't be making mistakes today. You don't want to be falling behind early.
And you certainly don't want to give the Cubs extra outs. Could have ended the inning. Instead, it's first and third with only one out. And here's Ronnie Cedeno. Been bothered by a sore right shoulder. Started at shortstop yesterday. Today, he's in there as the second baseman. On the ground. Maybe a chance here. Hardy, the turn by Durham, and it's another time. Safe is the call. A close play at first. A run scores. Durham's throw a hair late at first base.
Just a little bit off the end of the bat, and Cedeno gets down the line pretty good. You see the good feed to throw over to first base. Could have gone either way, but unfortunately, umpire Jerry Meals giving it to the Cubs. Could have easily have called him out, but he called him safe.
Looked like he had him by the blink of an eye, but it was close. And a break goes against the Brewers. A run on the board for the Cubs. And suddenly this sellout crowd gets quiet. A costly error by Fielder leads to the run.
Yeah, well, the Brewers don't have anybody to blame but themselves with the error. Inning should be over.
An unearned run against Sabathia. Henry Blanco starting today for Giovanni Soto. Soto still nursing a hand injury. Soto started on Friday trying to get some at-bats, get his rhythm back after missing a few games in New York, but he injured himself at the plate. Piniella took him out, and Soto sits until the postseason.
Not a bad backup to have in the lineup, Henry Blanco. You certainly don't lose a whole lot defensively with Blanco behind the plate, but obviously you lose that big bat of Giovanni Soto. He's having a great year.
Soto will be the Rookie of the Year in the National League. One ball, two strikes on Henry Blanco. 2-2. Sabathia with an 8-pitch first inning. A little squibber out to Durham. He'll take it himself. The inning is over. The Cubs score a run. A costly error by Fielder. And it's 1-0 Chicago. Head to the bottom of the second inning from Miller Park. The Cubs lead the Brewers 1-0. An unearned run in the second inning. And let's get you caught up. Our Potawatomi game reset if you're just joining us. Brewers Cubs final game of this series. Aramis Ramirez with a single to lead off the second inning. Hawk power though in what looked like a double play ball. Taylor made. Instead it was an error. Brewers had another chance at a double play ball, but the turn from Durham just came up short. It was a close play, and that allowed the run to score. And the Brewers trailing 1-0 early. Exactly what they did not want to have happen today. Mets and the Marlins scoreless in the third. Cubs starting one of their relievers, Angel Guzman, who was just activated in September, coming off Tommy John surgery last August. So while a number of the everyday starters and many of the postseason starters are in the regular lineup for Piniella, No Carlos Zambrano today. Instead, it's bullpen by committee.
You're probably going to see 5 or 6 pitchers out of the bullpen for Chicago. Why not? I think the only pitcher that you probably won't see would be Carlos Marmol. He's appeared in the first 2 games of this series, and that's pretty much been par for the course for that guy. He's been throwing an awful lot, and I would guess that Lou Piniella would rather not have to use him, and that's just fine with the Brewers.
Brewers got a lead hit from Cameron in the first, and then Guzman struck out the side after that to end the inning. Well, it's got to be tough on 2 fronts for the Brewers. Not only are they having to beat the Cubs in this final game, the Cubs have proven that they are the best team in the National League record-wise with 97 wins this year, but you're also playing a Cubs team who is free and easy and just waiting for the postseason to start.
They have nothing to lose. Everybody just getting their work in and looking toward Wednesday. The Brewers certainly are looking at this game and not worrying too much about anything else.
And unlike football, you don't fire up to play baseball better. You have to
calm down.
Calm down. Less is more in baseball, and with all that exists for the Brewers in this matchup.
The most dangerous opponent is one that doesn't have much to lose.
Cubs have not lost a series since early September. They were on a downturn at the end of August and into September. And the Brewers were riding high. Milwaukee 24 games over 500 at the end of August and a 5.5 game lead in the wild card. But the early September swoon put him in this position. Hardy chases one out of the zone, and that's 4 straight strikeouts for Guzman.
Now, Braun Fielder and J.J. Hardy both swinging at strike 3 pitches out of the strike zone. There's a high fastball. He got Braun on a low fastball, and Prince Fielder swung at a curveball. That wasn't a strike. A team that isn't very patient, but you figure today it's got to be even more difficult to stay back and swing at strikes.
Hard fouls a bunt away. Corey Hart down to the count. This time last week, the Brewers were 2.5 back of the Mets. Chicago went into New York, split that series. The Brewers ripped off 5 straight wins. Beat the Reds on Sunday, swept the Pirates, and then won the opener here against the Cubs on Friday to get right back in it. 2 up and 2 down for Guzman.
Yeah, just got to figure out a way to muster some offense. I mean, the offense has been sputtering for a while. They've been able to win some games in very dramatic fashion. Last at bat from walk-off homers. Just haven't had that consistency in an attack to score 6-7 runs. Haven't seen that in a while. Be nice to give Sabathia an opportunity to be able to cruise a little bit here today.
Greg Counsell back in the lineup today. Counsell and Durham have been the mainstays against right-handed starters. Little jam shot, little flare. Cedeno going back, and he runs it down for the out. 3 up, 3 down. The Cubs and Angel Guzman go through the Brewers order on our way to the 3rd from Miller Park. Well, interesting move here, Rock. Lou Piniella pulling out a wrinkle. Carlos Zambrano will pinch hit for Angel Guzman. So Guzman is out after 2 innings, and it's Zambrano just to keep tone with his batting skills. A switch hitter and a very good hitting pitcher against Sabathia.
That makes sense to bring Zambrano up there. I mean, he's a switch hitter. He hits the ball pretty well, and a little bit too early to be burning one of your bench players, I guess.
.341 hitter this year, 4 home runs.
Well, we saw Micah Owings in that Cincinnati series pinch hit and come up with a big RBI single.
Piniella has used Zambrano in a pinch hitting role quite often this year, as a matter of fact. The 7th time that he's pinch hit. Two of the great pitchers in the game matching up.
The thing that's amazing to me is what would happen if CC Sabathia, for whatever reason, drilled him in the hand. I mean, not on purpose, of course, but you send your game 2 starter up there to get an at bat. Maybe he hits the ball, pulls a hamstring. Kind of a risky move.
I agree. Sabathia makes it a moot point. Down he goes. Sabathia's first strikeout. One gone here in the 3rd inning. So now is Zambrano more or less confident going into the postseason with the bat in his hand?
I don't think Zambrano needs to be any more confident than he already is.
He does not need any more. He certainly isn't going to lose it with that at bat.
He's got enough for 3 people. And that's what you have to have, right?
After Ryan Braun hit the walk-off grand slam the other night, Trenny asked him, what does this do for your confidence? And he just smiled. I don't need any more confidence. When you make it to this level, that's the truth.
You better have confidence. Because all along the way, there are people telling you that you can't do things. In one ear and out the other.
Now the Cubs are good. They know they're good, and they cannot wait to get to Wednesday, which will be the first game of the NLDS. And they'll either have the Dodgers or they will have the Phillies. Excuse me, the Mets. Just depends on how things play out here. If the Brewers win the wild card, then Central Division teams cannot play each other. The Cubs and the Brewers in the same division, so that would mean the Cubs would take on the Dodgers.
Well, you can't really tell who Lou Piniella would prefer to play based on his lineups in the last week. I mean, he's played every game to win. And you got to tip your hat, for that. I mean, you got to do that when you're playing teams in playoff contention. He's thrown his best lineup out there. They've been winning.
It's a delicate balance for Piniella because he has some players that he needs to rest. Guys like Mark DeRosa out with a calf strain. DeRosa would normally start today against a left-hander. Instead, Michael Hoffpower gets a start in right field, a left-handed hitter. And of course, Giovanni Soto with a hand injury. It also allows him to set up his rotation for the postseason. Sabathia walks Soriano. He doesn't walk very often, but the Cubs have a base runner with 1 out.
He went with a changeup on a 3-2 pitch. Wasn't about to give Soriano a fastball there because of the numbers that we talked about earlier. 360 batting average against CC and 5 homers, including 2 in 1 game here at Miller Park.
Ryan Theriot, a .306 hitter, coming into play. And a good fastball on the corner from Sabathia. Theriot comes in tied for 6th of the league in batting. He and Mike Fontenot have had great seasons. They were teammates at LSU, and they are role players in this dynamic offense, but huge roles they play. And when both of them can post 300 batting averages for a season, you can tell why the Cubs, with so much thunder in their lineup, have been so successful and scoring a ton of runs.
Well, you need table setters in your lineup. You can't have guys going up there just swinging for the fences all the time. Not the Cubs do that, but both of them work the count very well. And they fly under the radar screen, certainly, with all the big names in this lineup.
Cubs lead the National League in runs scored. Count remains at 2-2. Terrio this year has 57 multi-hit games, which is second most in the National League. Jose Reyes of the Mets with 64. Had 2 hits in the opener of this series on Friday. Was on base 3 times. On the ground, a chopper. Durham is over. He's got it. Steps on the bag to first. And a double play that ends the inning. Sabathia works out of it. Brewers coming to bat in the bottom of the 3rd. Cubs lead 1-0 as we head to the Brewer half of the 3rd inning. Angel Guzman started for the Cubs, went 2 scoreless innings with 4 strikeouts. And now Pinella back to his bullpen as Chad Godin will take the mound for the Cubs.
Well, you knew it was going to be a day like this. Well, Godin pitched in a game in this series. 24th appearance, a 6.49 earned run average, 26 in the 3rd innings, 27 strikeouts. That's a pretty good arm and a good slider. Brewers got to him in the game recently.
On Friday, Godin pitched the 7th inning, and the Brewers with 3 runs, 2 earned runs in just 2/3 of an inning for Godin. Came over with Rich Harden in that trade with the Athletics. Godin facing the former A, Jason Kendall, to start things here in the 3rd. Kendall's had a hit in the series. He's 1 for 8. It was an RBI double. That was on Friday. A 5-1 Brewers win Friday. The Cubs yesterday beat the Brew Crew 7-3. Chicago leads the season series 9-6. And they've won 5 out of 6 here at Miller Park. The Cubs have. Slow roller to short. Terrio gets him. And 1 away here in the 3rd inning. Carsoup.com email the booth question today. Who has been the Brewers' most valuable player this season? Nicole in Menominee Falls. A timely question of game 162.
Well, you got to go Ryan Braun. I got to believe Ryan Braun throughout the entire season. You know, pitchers have their own award. But I tell you, since he's come over, I don't see how anybody could be considered, you know, the MVP. But throughout the entire season, if you're talking about a guy that's made the most impact all year, it would be Ryan. But I wouldn't have much of an argument for you if you would say CC Sabathia.
And only in special circumstances do you have a pitcher who could fall into that category. And certainly Sabathia, the impact he's made on this club since he joined the team on the 7th of July.
And the fact that he's pitched 3 times in 9 days, you know, in the most difficult of circumstances, must-win situations. A free agent at the end of the season, and I'll tell you what, he has been unbelievable.
His stock is only rising with his performances down the stretch. And he can swing the bat as well. Rolls over to second. And 2 gone. 2 groundouts for Godin. Back to the top of the order now. The Brewers with 2 outs. Cameron has the only hit thus far. Cameron's had a big season despite missing the first month of the season. 25 home runs this year at our Powerball home run leaderboard. Braun's still the leader. Fielder has come on fast, belting 6 home runs during his 17-game hit streak.
I'll tell you a guy who I think might, you know, garner some discussion for Brewer MVP. How about Jason Kendall? I mean, what he's done for the Brewer pitching staff. And most of the time, you know, what he does really goes unnoticed. The Brewers have the 3rd best team earned run average in the National League at 3.88. Catches just about every day, and you know, you have to give him a lot of the credit for that.
Another ground ball. And another quick inning for the Cubs. Godin 3 up 3 down with 3 groundouts. Brewers go quietly in the 3rd. Aflac trivia today. Who hit 2 home runs on the final day of the '82 season, helping the Brewers clinch the AL East title?
Sorry.
It's okay. Just seeing if folks are paying attention there. A little help never hurt. Last day of the season, or the scheduled last day. There could be a tiebreaker tomorrow between the Mets and the Brewers. That would be at Shea Stadium, and it would start at 6:37 precisely Central Standard Time, and that would be televised on TBS. 4 different scenarios could play out today.
Well, if the Brewers do exactly what the Mets do today, the Brewers will be heading to New York.
Which is why the bags are packed, and the Brewers will be leaving immediately following the game. A Brewer win and a Mets loss. The Brewers spray the champagne. And
that's the only reason why, you know, Dale Swain told the guys to pack their stuff, because if it was if we win, we get to the postseason scenario, we would have never done that. I mean, that's just a negative vibe right there. But the fact that if the Brewers win and the Mets win, there's still going to be that tiebreaker.
And if they're going for a tiebreaker, the itinerary says New York and then Philadelphia. You don't see many ifs on postseason itineraries this time of year.
So the team will not come back to Milwaukee after the tie-breaking win in New York if need be. Right to Philly, have a workout and get ready to strap it on Wednesday.
No, that doesn't mean we can't play what if. So there's the scenarios, the 4 ways it could play out. A win-loss for the Brewers and the Mets. Brewers win the wild card, and then they'll spray the champagne, and then there will be a rally here in Milwaukee tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Win-win. Those are the only 2 scenarios. Let's stay positive, right?
The old ball player in you.
Yeah.
You don't like to talk about those other options.
Yeah, what if? The only what if we win?
That's right.
What happens when we win?
When we win. 3-2 the count on Derek Lee leading off this 4th inning. The broken bat ground ball to Hardy. Cubs took the lead with a run in the 2nd inning. It was an unearned run. Could have been a scoreless inning. There was an error committed by Fielder, and then a close play on a double play ball. Ronnie Cedeno was called safe, and the run was able to score before Sabathia got out of the inning. The inning was started by an Aramis Ramirez single. So far, the Cubs bullpen has been spectacular. A lead single by Cameron off Guzman, but 9 in a row retired since, with 4 strikeouts between Guzman's 2 innings and Chad Godin's scoreless 3rd. Marlins and the Mets scoreless in the bottom of the 4th. The Mets batting. Final day of Shea Stadium, perhaps. So they've scheduled all of their final Shea Stadium rallies and celebrations. How about that celebration if the Brewers win and the Mets lose? That is going to be tough for Mets fans to endure.
Bittersweet.
The closing of Shea Stadium. They'll have a brand new ballpark, Citi Field, next year, which is being built right beyond the outfield right now, and many parts of it replicas of ballparks, especially Ebbets Field.
Yeah.
The front facade. Two and two the count. Good fastball from Sabathia. He's plenty of velocity here today.
Yep, 96 up around the letters to Ramirez and still able to get a piece of it. It's amazing the durability of CC Sabathia. You mentioned 9 days, 3 starts, and still able to throw 96 miles an hour.
Well, if there's anybody who can handle the workload like Sabathia has taken on down the stretch here, it is CC because of his size. You know, he's 6'7", And right around 300 pounds. If anybody can handle the wear and tear, it's a guy of this size. Santana, Johan Santana for the Mets, came back on 3 days rest yesterday for New York and went the distance. Shutout for New York as they beat the Marlins 2-0.
That Mets not scoring many runs either. I mean, this time of year with all that's at stake, you know, guys get a little bit aggressive at the plate. It's only natural.
And Bill Miller, the home plate umpire, says he went. So no appeal asked for. Miller just made the call, and Sabathia with a strikeout.
Went with a cut fastball down in the dirt, and with a big swing like Ramirez, he's got to start the bat early. You can see he goes. I'll tell you, that replay looked a little bit closer than I thought it was, and when it happened.
And that's the difference between a team playing for their playoff lives and one who is just trying to end the string here.
Yeah, no argument.
Just smiles and walks back.
Okay, whatever.
Cubs have earned the right to relax with 97 wins this year.
If the roles were reversed, there'd be helmets and bats flying all over that dugout.
No question. Sabathia has Reed Johnson down on the count, 0-2. Sabathia's pitch count in pretty good shape. Pitch number 58 coming here in the 4th inning. And he get him. So Johnson swings and misses at a cutter. Sabathia 3 up, 3 down, 4th. Take you back to 1982 for the Aflac trivia today. Who hit 2 home runs on the final day of the season that year, helping the Brewers clinch the AL East. And it's always good to finish the broadcast season with Robin Yount. 3 for 4, 2 home runs, had a triple. He scored 4 runs. And the primetime players, the Hall of Fame type players, step up in the biggest of moments. Robin Yount, 11 total bases against the Orioles, October 3rd, 1982.
Yeah, I forgot about the triple. I remember the 2 homers, but that's why you get MVP awards right there, when you put a team on your back when they need you most.
Yount, the MVP of that 82 season, and his number retired. Had a chance to break it out here once again, to put it on a back as Robin Yount took over that bench coaching job for the final 12 days of the season. That was the first call that Dale Swaim made when he was introduced as the manager of the Brewers. First business call, I should say. Certainly called his family.
Probably called Darlene first.
Robin Yount was eager to rejoin one of his good buddies and get back on the bench for this final ride.
Yeah, Robin jokes around the fact the only reason he's here is that, you know, he's got the pom-poms out and cheering everybody. But, you know, just having Robin Yount around, I mean, you step up your game. You don't want to disappoint the guy. He was like that when you played with him. You know, when Robin Yount was with the Brewers, I was there. You always wanted to step up your game just a little bit.
Well, the Brewers having a tough time at the plate. The new pitcher is Neil Kotz. Strikes out Durham. And that's the 5th strikeout for Chicago pitching today.
Well, just about every one of the strikeouts have come on pitches out of the strike zone. The numbers for Kotz, a 4.41 ERA in 49 games. He's had a rough September. In 9 games in September, a 7.2 ERA.
Ryan Braun into left field. Soriano is back, and he has it for the out.
And just a little bit down on a trademark. Ryan didn't get all that one, of course. If he did, it would have been out of the ballpark. And Neil Kotz in July, a 2.8 ERA in 14 games. August, 6.10. We already talked about his September numbers, and it just seems to be getting worse for Kotz. So how about some runs?
2 outs for Prince Fielder. Fielder struck out with Cameron at second base in the first inning. Trying to extend a 17-game hit streak. Kotz last pitched on Thursday. Gave up 3 hits in 2/3 of an inning at Shea Stadium. Both of those runners scored. Typically a 1-inning performer. And the numbers in September that Rock was telling you about. 9 games and a 7.20 ERA. His August was not much better. Lou Piniella stated yesterday that not only is it rest time for some of his injured position players, but it's audition time for some of his relievers. So these are important innings for guys like Guzman and Godin and Neil Kotz.
Samardzija, guys like that you figure would make the roster, but still in all. Cubs only have 2 lefties in that bullpen. Sean Marshall, who's made some starts, and Kotz. I think Lou has a pretty good idea who's going to be on that roster regardless of what happens today.
Well, it'll be a 4-man rotation in the playoffs. Jason Marquis will go to the bullpen. Fielder strikes out, and with every passing out, the balloon tightens.
Welcome back to Miller Park, where the Cubs still have a 1-0 lead over the Brewers. It is time now for our final Midwest Airlines Crew in the Community of the Year. And we're hoping this happens. If the Brewers clinch the wild card berth today, there will be a Brewers rally tomorrow at the Summerfest grounds. It'll start at 4. It'll go to 7. We'll have live coverage from 5 to 6 on FSN Wisconsin. The players, before boarding the plane to go to Philadelphia, will take a run through. They should be on the Summerfest grounds about 5 o'clock. Now, if for some reason the Brewers do have to go to New York and there is that 1-game playoff with the Mets, the rally will be moved to Tuesday. Check Brewers.com for more information. And Brian and Bill just flashed up on the scoreboard. I had no idea, but today it is Mark Atanasios' birthday. Brian tells me it's 51. He got a standing ovation from the sellout crowd. Well deserved for all the time, money, and effort he has put into this team that is hoping to finally get back to the postseason.
Yeah, what a birthday present it would be if the Brewers could wrap it up here today.
We got the beard going.
That's the rally beard.
The rally beard, yeah. Wife Debbie not too excited about the beard, but they got to take one for the team.
Whatever it takes.
I mean, you know, they always shave it off in November.
There's Debbie, the wife of the owner. Mark's got his family in town. And his horse on the mound, his prized possession, CC Sabathia, came over in one of the most significant trades in franchise history. So many links to the Don Sutton trade in '82. Bolster that starting rotation and help the Brewers to the World Series, even when the trade was made in July. And isn't it ironic that on the final day of the regular season, Sabathia is on the mound just like Sutton was. 3 straight strikeouts for CC Sabathia. Gives him 4 for the game and 1 out here in the 5th.
And you hope Sabathia is with the team next year, just like Don Sutton was in '83. If we want to wish, we can wish, can't we? Good cut fastball, getting Micah Hoffpower right down the middle of the plate.
Now it's Cedeno. Cedeno responsible for the lone RBI of this game. Could have gone as a double play to win the inning. Instead, Cedeno beat it down the line, and Aramis Ramirez scored. It was an unearned run against Sabathia. Costly error by Fielder set the inning up. Well, everybody's talking about the health of CC Sabathia and how strong he feels this time of year, coming back on 3 days rest for the third time in his career. Make it for the fourth time in his career, for the third straight time as a Brewer. CC had a good fastball his last time out. We had a chance to visit with CC yesterday and asked him about his strength and his health going into this final day.
I think everybody who really knows me knows that, how I am and how competitive I am, and knows that, I wouldn't really do anything to jeopardize, my career or put myself at any risk. But I want to win. And, if you can't understand that, then, I don't really know what else to tell you. I mean, we're in a position to get in the playoffs and win a championship, and that's what I'm trying to do.
A throwback type player. I mean, he would fit right in back in the old 70s, 60s when they had the 3-man or 4-man rotations. Every third day was a way of life for pitchers back then. It hasn't been till recently that you've had the 5-man rotations, 4 days rest, and everybody makes such a big deal about it. Well, the guys back in the old days were able to do it.
And he's certainly strong enough to endure such a schedule. And now that he's been able to get his routine going and his every 4th day rhythm, his 3 days rest, which again, if the Brewers make it to the postseason, there's a chance that Sabathia would pitch on Wednesday, which would set him up for Game 5, a Game 5 scenario in the NLDS.
And the Brewers battery tonight, or today I should say.
Let's see what Sabathia, since the trade on the 8th, first in wins with 10, his earned run average best in the National League as well. The Brewers have only lost 3 times when he's been on the mound, but the Cubs are responsible for 2 of those.
Now you look at CC Sabathia and Jason Kendall. Those 2 guys would fit in baseball in 1908 and 2008. I mean, not just by the way they go about their business, wanting to be out there all the time, but their mentality, the way they approach the game, the way they are on the plains and in the clubhouse.
Hardy hangs in there tough on a hot ground ball, and Blanco retired. Sabathia back-to-back 3-up, 3-down innings. Another sellout crowd here at Miller Park. Kevin Hart is on the mound for the Cubs. Neil Kotz went a scoreless 4th. And now it's Kevin Hart to face J.J. Hardy, Corey Hart, and Craig Counsell. That Cubs bullpen by committee has retired 12 in a row since Cameron's leadoff single in the first.
Yeah, they have been doing a pretty good job of getting ahead in the count and having the Brewers swinging the pitches out of the zone with 2 strikes. First appearance of the series for Kevin Hart. 2-2 record, a 7.01 earned run average. Time to get on the board, boys.
Hart, the 4th pitcher used. Guzman 2 scoreless with 4 strikeouts. Chad Godin with 3 ground ball outs. And Neil Kotz went an inning with 2 strikeouts. So the Brewers have punched out 6 times already. 1-0 Cubs. An unearned run scored in the 2nd inning. Ramirez scored the run. Cedeno drove him in on a fielder's choice. Marlins and the Mets still scoreless in the top of the 6th. If there's any change, Craig Kashan will have an update for you. He's watching that game closely. He's watching both games closely here today. He's a busy man.
Got a lot going on, does Craig, doesn't he?
Appreciate all the great work of our crew and being able to manage not only this game, but all the highlights coming in from New York and Shea Stadium. Not to mention all the great work they do all year.
Yeah. It's amazing how this year, last game of the season, there are 4 games that mean an awful lot. You know, the Twins, the White Sox, Brewers, Mets.
And for the first time in baseball history, there could be 2 tiebreakers. There's only been 7 tiebreakers in the history of baseball. The 7th one was last year between the Rockies and the Padres. There's a chance at a tiebreaker in the National League and a tiebreak scenario in the American League as well.
Yeah. With
the White Sox and the Twins going down to the wire. Hardy grounds to Theriot. And one gone here in the Brewer fifth. We got an update coming. Let's check in with Craig Kashawn.
Well, Brian, the Marlins and Mets have been going real fast, just like this Brewer game here. No score, though, in this game until Baker lifts the RBI single to score Maben, and the Fish are out in front 1-0 in the 6th inning. So both teams that need to win to get in are both trailing at this point 1-0.
Cameron Maben, who came over that trade from the Tigers to the Marlins. It's Miguel Cabrera, Dontrelle Willis deal. So 1-0, the Fish lead the Mets.
And no surprise that both of these offenses, the Mets and Brewer, struggling a bit because of, every at bat means so much. I mean, it's very difficult, as we mentioned, to stay back, relax. You want to be the hero. You want to hit the home run. Tendency is when you feel that way, you've got that pressure up there, you're going to swing at bad pitches. I mean, they know it too. They know they got to relax up there at the plate. Just hard to do.
Easy to say, hard to execute.
Yes, it is.
Kevin Hart against Corey Hart.
And when you have a whole season, 161 games before today, riding on one at bat perhaps, or one game, and I tell you, you're only human.
Well, these are kind of games and the kind of moments that make memories. We're still talking about Robin Yount's 2 home runs in the final day of the '82 season. And this whole new breed of Brewers trying to establish their own history. Hart strikes out, chases a breaking ball. Boy, the Brewers are not looking good at the plate right now.
Yeah, they are swinging at some bad pitches with 2 strikes. Hey, see the September 29th and October 6th Century Food ads for details to enter for your chance to win a 2009 spring training trip to see the Brewers in Maryvale. That's compliments of Century Foods.
2 up, 2 down, and here is Craig Counsell now. Cubs pitching has retired 14 straight with 7 strikeouts since Mike Cameron singled to lead off the bottom of the 1st inning.
Yeah, things were looking pretty good, weren't they, in that first at bat? Good approach by Cam, got things going. It's only going to take one big at bat, you score a run, and it could be just what gets the Brewers going here. Who's going to be that spark plug?
Counsell, little flare. It's going to be played by Theriot, and the Brewers go quickly in the 5th. Another 3 up, 3 down inning. Still 1-0 Cubs. Toyota Tundra game summary. Not much offense today. The only run for the Cubs came in the 2nd inning, an unearned run. It was a costly error by Fielder in that 2nd inning. Ramirez scored on an RBI fielder's choice from Cedeno. A combined effort from the Cubs bullpen. A bullpen by committee day. Meanwhile, CC Sabathia has been outstanding. 5 innings, no earned runs. He has 4 strikeouts, including 3 in a row at one point. Brewers Live will be coming up following the game, and we're hoping it is a Brewers Live to remember.
Celebration.
And if the Brewers win and the Mets lose, we will stay on the air today until the last champagne cork has popped.
Till the cows come home.
We have that option. We've extended the broadcasting window.
Is that your call?
Oh yeah, I made that call today. Big conference call. Where were you?
I didn't know about it.
You're on a need to know basis still.
That's what you keep telling me.
After 14 years. Coy Hill batting in the pitcher spot, so that'll do it for Kevin Hart. Carlos Zambrano hit in this spot back in the 3rd inning. A pinch hit appearance by Zambrano. Coy Hill's first at bat. He's down on the count 2-2 to Sabathia. And CC tries to get him to chase the breaking ball. That's a pretty good pitch. That's right where CC wants to put it. And usually gets a swing and a miss. Good take by Hill. Got him. Sabathia strikes him out through a changeup. A 3-2 changeup from Sabathia. He picks up his 5th strikeout.
Yeah, not as good a take that time. Another off-speed pitch by Sabathia. He's done a nice job being very careful with the fastball in fastball counts.
So one gone for Sabathia. Top of the order now. Soriano in his 3rd at bat.
There hadn't been too many fastballs, has there, from CC? I mean, not for strikes anyway.
Yeah. His fastball is a good one. It's up there in the mid-90s today, but he's getting a lot of swings and misses with his changeup and his cutter.
Yeah, changeup first pitch to Soriano. Cutter for a swing and a miss. 80 pitches, and we're in the 6th. Pretty good.
0-2 to Soriano, sitting on 29 home runs this year. Tried a fastball that time, and it missed inside. Marlins have added to their lead 2-0. We'll have an update momentarily. Craig will show you how it happened. A pop up into right, playable for Corey Hart. And Sabathia 2 up, 2 down. Let's check in with Craig.
Well, the Marlins chase the starting pitcher Oliver Perez. Your average Joe Smith comes in and walks Dan Uggla with the bases loaded, 1 out. So another run comes home for the Fish. They continue to bat. It's 2-0 right now in the 6th with the bases loaded, 1 out.
So the Marlins threatening. They just post that score here at Miller Park. And the spontaneous cheer. Ryan Theriot, a line drive, base hit. A 2-out single by Theriot, his first hit of the game. And the first hit for the Cubs since Ramirez single back in the 2nd.
Yeah, not much offense anywhere today. I mean, 3 hits in the ball game, all 3 of them singles. You're talking about 2 of the most prolific home run hitting teams in the National League, and not much going on.
Sabathia going the distance so far. For the Cubs, it's been a combination of 4 pitchers, and they'll soon have their 5th on the mound when we hit the bottom of the 6th inning. Derek Lee with 2 outs and a runner at first. It was Derek Lee who delivered a big hit for the Cubs in New York that allowed the Brewers to tie the New York Mets for the wild card. A game-winning hit for Derek Lee and an RBI. Brewers won here against the Pirates, and that put the Brewers back in the wild card tie. Just a week ago this Sunday, the Brewers were 2.5 back of the Mets. Milwaukee won 5 straight games before losing yesterday for the first time.
Put on a nice comeback until a 4-run 7th inning, 3-run 7th inning, or 9th inning, I should say, for the Chicago Cubs. With that Fukudome home run, that was a biggie.
Two and 1 to count on Lee. He's 0 for 2. That home run by Fukudome yesterday came off Salomon Torres, who has struggled in September, and some questions on Torres finishing games in this final month. But at this point, you go with what brung you, and Torres has had a great season. Brewers would like to see him get things turned around. Big fastball from Sabathia. There's a good one. 94 on the black, and it's 2-2 to Derek Lee. In the air, playable. Durham is back. And the side retired. Sabathia through 6. Now the bats need to wake up. Well, so far today, the Brewer bats have gone silent. A first inning single by Cameron, but then 3 strikeouts for Angel Guzman, a spot starter today coming out of that Cubs bullpen. He struck out the side. Guzman finished with 4 punch outs. And then the combination of Godin, Kotz, and Hart with 3 more strikeouts on the board against Milwaukee. Kevin Hart back on the mound, and Jason Kendall, first ball swing and a little flare to right. 1 pitch, 1 out. And Dale Swaim will allow CC Sabathia to swing the bat here in the 6th inning. Well, the way the Brewers are swinging the bat, Sabathia might be the best option.
Yeah. It's been rough. I mean, yeah, the guys just need to relax up there. I know I'm tired of saying it, but it seems as though they're either swinging early in the count or swinging the pitches out of the strike zone. Apparently much of the same is going on in New York with the Mets offense.
Yeah, the Marlins lead the Mets 2-0. That one's in the bottom of the 6th inning. Scott Olson, a Chicago area native, pitching for the Marlins and pitching well. Sabathia has 3 career home runs. We'll see Sean Marshall. He'll be next. CC's hit 2 home runs this year. Had one as an Indian at Dodger Stadium and one here at Miller Park against the Reds. It was only his 2nd game. And only enhanced the legend of CC Sabathia when he hit 1 out and went the distance and beat the Reds right before the All-Star break.
Yeah, right away. Didn't take him long.
There's a drive into right. Fair or foul. It's hit deep. And it's foul. Sabathia just got out in front of it.
Yep, had enough. Just couldn't keep it fair. Hanging breaking ball from Kevin Hart. That's a hitter right there. Hardest hit ball for the Brewers so far today.
A foul ball by the pitcher. 1-2 the count on Sabathia. Little chopper. And 2 gone for the Cubs. 2 up and 2 down for Kevin Hart. He's retired 5 in a row. 17 straight Brewers have gone down in order since Cameron's single in the 1st. And now it's Mike Cameron for the 3rd time.
And of those outs, the hardest hit ball was that Ryan Braun line out the left. That was back in the 4th inning. Other than the Sabathia foul ball.
Mike Cameron, a member of that Padres team a year ago that came up short. Had a 2-game lead with 2 to play. The Brewers beat them twice here at Miller Park. Forced the tiebreaker between the Rockies and the Padres. Cameron was unable to start in that tiebreaker game. He was out with an injury. After the Padres won the division back in '06. Cameron's been in the fire a few times in the postseason. Been a part of winning teams in New York and San Diego. Grounds over to Ramirez. And Brewers down in order again. So Milwaukee not much offensively, trailing the Cubs 1-0. Time now for the Menards game reset. Brewers Cubs. And before we start, we take you back. 1982, when Don Sutton made the start of the final day. Brewers had lost 3 straight, but it was Sutton who went 8 innings, gave up just 2 runs, and the Brewers would win the East in the American League. And it transfers to today. CC Sabathia, late season acquisition, makes a big start today against the Cubs, and Sabathia has been outstanding so far. He's gone 6 innings, only given up 1 unearned run thus far to the Cubs, but finds himself down 1-0.
Be nice to see the Brewers get 7 runs for Sabathia here today. I think you'd be feeling pretty good about the game if you do that. Makes it a little bit easier to pitch on 3 days rest when you get some run support.
So Sabathia back on the mound for his 7th inning of work. His pitch count is at 88. Pitching on 3 days rest for the 3rd consecutive start, and Aramis Ramirez with a base hit. And the Cubs have a lead man on. So Ramirez is aboard, and let's check in with Craig Kashawn for an update from Shea Stadium.
So much for the sore ribs, Brian. Carlos Beltran, bottom of the 6th inning with a runner on, unloads for a long home run. And this game between the Mets and Marlins locked up at 2-2 right now, bottom of the 6th inning, Brian.
So Beltran delivers a big hit for the New York Mets.
No, that's what it takes. You know, one of the big boys to step up and, you know, get everybody to relax a little bit. Beltran able to do it in New York.
On the ground, chance for 2 here. Counsell to Durham, the turn in time, double play. Around the horn, the Brewers go 5-4-3. And 2 quick outs with 1 swing of the bat.
Well, a good pitch by CC. Got a pitch down in the zone, and all Reed Johnson could do is beat it into the ground to Craig Counsell. Good feed over to second base and an easy double play.
Cubs lead it 1-0, scoring a run in the 2nd. Mets and the Marlins tied at 2 in the bottom of the 6th. An incredible day of baseball awaits. It's already been something special, but as we get to these later innings and the scoreboard watching.
Well, just the energy at Miller Park very early in the day today, even before the gates were open.
Micah Hoffpower is 0 for 2 today. It was a batted ball from Hoffpower that ultimately led to the Cubs run. He grounded 1 to first back in the 2nd inning. Could have been a double play. Went right between the legs of fielder for an error. And that set up Ronnie Cedeno's RBI fielder's choice on a ground ball. Into center field, Mike Cameron is there. Sabathia clicking along here. The Brewers trying to put some runs on the board for him. Top of the order coming up. Milwaukee Brewers baseball on FSN Wisconsin is presented by Toyota. Visit ytundra.com to find out why the Toyota Tundra is a great way to keep moving forward. And by Miller Lite. When it's time to reach for the original Miller Lite. Great taste, less filling. And this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Milwaukee Brewers Baseball Club. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Milwaukee Brewers. Top of the order coming up for the Brew Crew.
Now the partners, associates, and staff at Foley and Lardner, together with Brewers pitcher Eric Gagne, have donated over $115 grand this year to the Hunger Task Force. Join the Brewers in thanking them for doing their part to strike out hunger.
Over 45,000 on hand at Miller Park. And the Brewers and the Cubs in the final day of the regular season, which could be extended until tomorrow if there's a tiebreaker that is needed. There is a possibility of 2 tiebreakers in baseball this year. Last year was the 7th tiebreaker in Major League history. It came down between the Padres and the Colorado Rockies in a 13-inning thriller. They were battling for the wild card. The Rockies ended up winning in the 13th inning. Remember that close call at home plate. Matt Holliday scored the winning run, according to the home plate umpire. And of course the Rockies would go on and they would just blow right through the first 2 rounds until ultimately getting swept by the Boston Red Sox. So coming from the wild card and through a tiebreak, the Colorado Rockies into the World Series last year.
There have been a number of World Series winners that have come from the wild card. Most recently the St. Louis Cardinals. Angels won the World Series as a wild card entry. But you got to get there first.
And right now the Brewers are trailing 1-0 to the Cubs. Don Marshall is the new pitcher. It's also a new shortstop. Marshall becomes the 5th Cub pitcher used today by Piniella.
Sean Marshall has bounced between the starting rotation and the bullpen, back and forth between Chicago and the minor leagues. 3-5 with a 374 earned run average, 58 strikeouts in 65 innings. A left-hander with pretty good fastball, likes to ride the fastball high, and a good overhand curveball.
Casey McGehee is in the game as well. Ray Durham takes a ball high and outside. The Brewers have Durham, Braun, and Fielder in this 7th inning. McGehee at third base. Correction, not shortstop. Cubs with a run in the 2nd inning, an unearned run. Guzman started, went 2 scoreless. Godin and Kotz with a scoreless inning apiece, and Kevin Hart 2 shutout innings as well. 18 straight retired by Cubs pitching since Cameron's hit in the 1st inning.
And off in the back of their bullpen, Lou Piniella's bullpen, that you don't see a whole lot of late in the ball game. Those guys are still out there. So it's not going to get any easier for the Brewers.
Durham is 0 for 2. A couple of strikeouts on his line here today. And Marshall has him down 2-2. And Durham lines one into right center field. That's pretty well hit. Johnson on the run. Can't get it. It'll go to the wall. Durham will stop at second with a double. And the Brewers have a lead man in scoring position to start the 7th inning.
Well, and able to break that long string of consecutive outs. Ray Durham able to stay back nicely and bang one into right center. Ray hasn't had too many at-bats right-handed for the Brewers. Able to wait back nicely on that pitch. Fastball away from him and just out of the reach of Reed Johnson, was playing shallow. Good start to the 7th inning for the Crew.
And normally that's a triple for Durham, but he's been bothered by a hamstring injury. He thought about it for a moment and then held up. So it's not a guarantee that he'll score on a base hit. Here's Ryan Braun. And a crowd coming alive here at Miller Park as Braun takes a strike from Marshall. Braun is 0 for 2. He lined out last time up. "36 home runs this year for Braun, 104 driven in. And his last homer was the biggest of his life when he hit a walk-off grand slam against the Pirates on Thursday.
Yeah, most of the Brewers offense on this homestand has come late, 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. Haven't really been able to get out in front and bury an opponent. Of course, you don't mind as long as you get offense, whether it's early or late. It's going to have to be late today again.
Durham a lead double at second base. Prince Fielder is on deck. And Braun down on the count, a ball and 2 strikes.
That's a big old curveball right there. I think it fooled Ryan and just barely off the inside corner. That's about as big a curveball as you're ever going to see. Almost as dropping from the upper deck.
Tough one to take. Braun got the benefit of the call. Braun hit .450 against left-handers last year. Rolls one. That's a fair ball. And McGehee throws to first. Lee coming back across the diamond. Durham safe. Ray Durham, a great base running move to get to third base. And it turns out to be a productive out for Ryan Braun.
Man, that's a nice play by Ray Durham. He realized that that ball down the line, it was behind the bag at third. McGehee really didn't have the opportunity to look him back and then throw Ryan out, because Ryan runs pretty well. Check it out. Behind third base. Really doesn't have the option of looking the runner back. Ray Durham knows it and gets a good jump and gets into third base. Good base running. Now if he takes one step back towards second base, he can't get to third base. He understood the situation and was able to get into third base for less than 2.
So now the Brewers can tie this game up with a fly ball to the outfield on a sacrifice fly. And their hottest hitter coming up, Prince Fielder. He's 0 for 2 today, but a 17-game hit streak. Cubs bring their infield in. No shift is on for Fielder.
Well, if you're Prince Fielder, you try and get a pitch up in the strike zone. The last thing you want to do is hit the ball on the ground here. Get something up until you get 2 strikes and try and hit a fly ball somewhere.
Two balls, no strikes.
Pretty good chance that Prince is going to have to try and hit this ball up the middle into the opposite field with that big curve ball. I don't think Marshall's going to want to challenge him inside. They're giving Prince a lot of room in left center. Alfonso Soriano very shallow, and now they finally walk him. I was wondering when they were going to do that. Tried to get Prince to swing at a couple of pitches out of the strike zone. Probably going to walk Fielder here and then bring in the right-hander to face JJ and Corey.
And here comes Piniella, the slow walk to the mound. So the Brewers with runners at the corners. The go-ahead run is now aboard. And Piniella makes a call to the pen. A pitching change at Miller Park. We'll take a timeout. 1 out. The Brewers with runners at the corners and Hardy coming up. Well, J.J. Hardy preparing for a huge at-bat. The Brewers have runners at the corners in the 7th inning. Down 1-0 to the Cubs. And playing for their playoff lives. Roof is closed, a sellout crowd. The Marlins and the Mets currently tied at 2. That's in the 7th inning at Shea Stadium, and the new pitcher rock is Michael Wirtz.
Yeah, 45th appearance of the season. He's pitching all 3 games here in this series against the Brewers. A lot of work for Wirtz. Yesterday, 2/3 scoreless, and pitched a full inning on Friday.
Durham over at third, Fielder at first. And J.J. Hardy at the plate. Hardy is 0 for 2 today. Struck out in the 2nd inning and then grounded out in the 5th. Cubs pitchers had retired 18 straight Brewers until Durham's double to start the 7th inning. Now a chance here. 2 balls, no strikes.
And now J.J. has the luxury of looking for one in his wheelhouse, something up. Wirtz has a good sinker. He's started him off with a couple of sliders.
Cubs will give up the run to get the 2 outs on a ground ball. And Hardy lays off. He went with a breaking ball 2-0, and now it's 3 balls, no strikes. Walked him. Bases loaded for the Brewers. A 4-pitch walk by Michael Wirtz.
Well, that last one pretty close. Bill Miller saying to Michael Wirtz, if you're not going to throw strikes, I'm not going to give you one in the corner. Pitch. Michael Wirtz still trying to be pretty fine on the outside corner. Called the ball.
And Larry Rothschild, the Cubs pitching coach, to talk it over with Wirtz. So now Corey Hart steps in the spotlight. Bases loaded, 1 gone.
Corey's been swinging a lot of first pitch sliders. And when you can swing at a first pitch and make sure it's one you like, something up in the zone, maybe a sinker up. You have the luxury of being patient here. The pressure's all over Wirtz.
Hart's never hit a grand slam homer. Bases loaded, 1 out. And Hart takes a cut. Cuts right through him. Durham at third, a leadoff double representing the tying run. Fielder the go-ahead run at second. And now Hardy at first. To the count.
And that's a pitch right there that's been killing Corey Hart. Last couple of weeks, that slider not picking it up all that well. Pitch out of the zone.
Well, you can't imagine a scenario where Wirtz would throw him a strike here. See if he'll chase. Durham will be on his toes at third for a wild pitch. 0-2. And Hart strikes out. Michael Wirtz struck him out on 3 straight. 2 gone in the inning.
No, those are the sliders. That's the pitch we were talking about. Corey's had a lot of problem with that pitch last month or so. And Michael Wirtz threw 3 very good ones.
So Michael Wirtz now at 2 outs. Hart down on strikes. And here's Craig Counsell, the best the Brewers have with bases loaded. His career numbers with bases loaded, a .412 hitter.
And there's that good sinker right there. Starts out of his hand looking pretty good and then drops off the table as it gets to home plate.
A Wisconsin native Counsell. A huge at-bat here in the 7th. Ball and a strike. Grew up a Brewer fan. His dad worked for the Brewers. And his 2nd season and his 2nd tour with Milwaukee. And what a spot right here. The 1-1. 2 balls and a strike.
Can't ask for a better guy up when a walk is going to score a run. Had a great at-bat in yesterday's ball game.
And he drew a tough walk on Thursday that set up Braun's grand slam. Strike. Counsell stays patient. Now works the count in his favor.
He'll probably take another.
And we are tied at 1.
Well, you take him any way you can get him. A double and 3 walks, and the Brewers have a run in. Boy, 2 big RBIs for Craig Counsell last couple of days. Counsell's base hit yesterday got the Brewers to within 1 run and ties it up today.
And now it's Kendall, the former Cub, who would love nothing more than to deliver against his old team here. Wertz in there with a strike. Good breaking ball. Brewers tie it up on a bases loaded walk. 2 walks given up by Wertz. That run will belong to Marshall. A base hit could score 2.
Another walk will score 1. Take that. Good to have a guy up at the plate that is just looking to make contact. Tough to strike out.
Jeff Samardzija, just in case, getting loose. Hard throwing right hand. CC Sabathia would be next. Kendall, a shot to short on a hop. Theriot gets the out. And the inning ends. The Brewers strand the bases loaded, but they score a run. Counsell walks with the bases loaded, and we're tied at 1. All tied at 1. New ball game here as the Brewers get a run in the 7th on a bases loaded walk from Craig Counsell. It's the 12th time this year the Brewers have walked with the bases loaded. Counsell, while he didn't get the big hit, he drew the big walk, and now the big fella back on the mound to start his 8th inning of work.
Well, good at bat for Craig. I mean, they didn't throw him strikes, they didn't swing at him, and because of that, he was rewarded with an RBI.
And a big one that evens it up. Mets and the Marlins still tied as well. That game's a 2-2 in the bottom of the 7th. CC Sabathia, his pitch count is into the 90s now. He's at 94. He'll have the bottom of the order here. 95 pitches for Sabathia. Cedeno responsible for the only Cub RBI tonight. Drove one in on a fielder's choice. Very close to a double play that would have ended the inning. Cedeno beat it out. Been nursing a sore right shoulder, but starting for the 2nd straight game. A little pop-up. Prince gives chase. Hart gives chase. That one will end up in the seats. CC Sabathia's spot in the order is due up first in the bottom of the 8th.
And you got to figure that Dale's not going to allow CC to lead an inning off in a tie game. Maybe leave him out there if there's 2 outs and nobody on, if there's no spots in there in the order, but not as a leadoff hitter.
So Sabathia in his final inning most likely.
So if he hasn't already, maybe empty the tank here in this inning.
Pitching on 3 days rest for the 3rd straight time.
3rd game in 9 days.
He's got a big tank though to empty.
Yes, he does.
Plenty of arms in the bullpen. Incredible performance from Sabathia. And a strikeout. Cedeno down on strikes. The breaking ball from Sabathia at his 6th K of the game.
Now the changeup, the cutter has been terrific once again. I mean, back-to-back starts. That cutter has been there for Sabathia from inning 1. That's a heck of a pitch down in the zone. Now, Associated Bank is the home of Brewers checking. Get Brewers theme checks, a baseball MasterCard check card, fan zone discounts, ticket offers, and more. Visit Associated Bank with Brewers checking.
Casey McGehee, his first at bat, came into the game for Ramirez at third base last inning. And his first look at CC Sabathia. All tied at 1. The Cubs have 3 hits, the Brewers with 2. 1 error in the game that was committed by Fielder, and it was a big one. Led to an unearned run for the Cubs in the second. Ball and 2 strikes on McGehee. It makes sense that both of these games are tied right now. The Mets and the Marlins and the Brewers and the Cubs.
Kind of the way it's been for a while, right? Neck and neck.
On the corner, a called strike 3. Sabathia only getting stronger here in the late innings. Back-to-back strikeouts, number 7 for Sabathia.
Well, the cutter, the backdoor variety. We haven't seen too many of those from Sabathia, but Bill Miller rings it up. I'll tell you, not much argument from this Cubs lineup. Whatever happens to them happens, and they're going to accept it. McGehee just walks away.
Marlins coming up to bat at the top of the 8th against the Mets at Shea. And 2 outs here at Miller Park. Coy Hill at the plate for the second time. He struck out looking against Sabathia in the 6th. Hill had a career year in AAA this year, .275 average and 17 doubles. Not much room to break through in Chicago for a good while, though, with Giovanni Soto on his way to the Rookie of the Year award. 25-year-old catcher. Sabathia trying to strike out the side in what might be his final inning today. Bear hands it. The legend lives. CC Sabathia with a 3-up, 3-down inning. What can he do? Still tied at 1.
Scoring update from New York, a former Brewer coming through, Wes Helms. Look at him go. A solo home run in the 8th inning helps Florida with a 3-2 lead over the Mets out at Shea Stadium. Unbelievable stuff. It is 1-1 here at Miller Park. Craig and Davey along board with you, trying to get ready for Brewers Live postgame. What's the scenario going to be? CC Sabathia, Davey, up to the plate, pitching a gem. Can he help himself out anymore?
Well, he almost did his last at bat. He pulled the home run foul, but maybe the big guy is just carrying this team on his shoulders right now. If he can get a base hit, this place is going to go crazy.
7 strikeouts. CC Sabathia hitting for himself to lead off the 8th in a 1-1 game, Brian.
Craig and Davey, thank you. Sabathia, a huge ovation.
I've seen everything now.
The pitcher hits for himself in a tie game in the 8th inning, but this is no ordinary pitcher.
No, this is Dale Swain. You know, not a whole lot of confidence in his offense right now, saying that You know, if we're not going to score, I want Sabathia out on the mound.
An expanded roster full of hitters on the bench. And Sabathia up there to try to hit one out.
In a normal situation, you would never allow a pitcher to lead off a tie game in the 8th inning, but I guess in this situation a little bit different. You want your best out there in the mound to keep it tied.
1 ball, 1 strike. Bob Howry is the new Cubs pitcher. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Sabathia.
And I guess if you're Dale Swain, I mean, you can't blame him. They're watching the Brewer offense today. The only chance is to keep the Cubs off the board as long as you can and hope somebody gets a hold of one.
All tied at 1. The Brewers strand the bases loaded last inning. Mike Cameron would be next. Wes Helms hits a go-ahead home run for the Marlins at Shea, only his 5th of the year. The former Brewer.
How about that, huh?
Big Tex.
Bobby Howry on for the 72nd time. This guy's been getting a lot of opportunities on the mound. He's had a rough time of it lately anyway.
CC goes down on strikes. And 1 gone here in the 8th inning.
And good pitch by Howry up and in. Tough for a pitcher to get the bat head out on a pitch like that. Look at them all. Every one of them has been pitching a beauty here today for Chicago.
7 pitchers for the Cubs, including Bob Howry. Brewers got a run of the 7th on a bases loaded walk. Counsell drew the walk. Durham scored the run. Now it's Cameron for the 4th time. Mike Cameron is 1 for 3 after his single in the 1st. Brewers went down 18 straight until Durham doubled in the 7th. Cameron with 25 home runs. And a line drive, base hit to left. Soriano cuts it off. Mike Cameron with a single. And the go-ahead run is aboard, and a base stealer in that.
Now Bobby Howry, a decent move to first base. As you take a look at our McDonald's at the plate, Ray Durham, a couple of strikeouts, a double. He scored the run when Craig Counsell walked. Score your favorite flavor today of McDonald's iced coffee.
So Durham bats. Back on his better side, left-handed. Cameron with 17 stolen bases at first. Looks like he wants to run. And Durham squares to bunt. Bunts right through it.
Coy Hill, a decent throwing catcher. It's a matter if you get Bobby Howry on one of those changeups. Well, you know Mike Cameron wants to take off. Got to get a jump, though.
Cameron's been caught 5 times this year. He's a good base runner. Got a big lead at first. And a pitch out. The Cubs thinking what we're thinking. And it's a ball and a strike on Ray Durham. Durham into right field. That's pretty well hit. Hoffpower is back, and he's got it. Now Cameron has to retreat. Micah Hoffpower turns and runs and makes a play.
Well, Ray hit it in the wrong spot, right in the area where that right field fence goes out. And if he pulls it just about 10 feet, that's a home run. Well, he got pretty good swing on that pitch. Well, Ray Durham's put some pretty good at-bats on the Cubs the last 2 times up.
Well, Durham is out, second out in the inning, and it's time for an update. What's going on at Shea, Craig?
Well, Brian, another long ball for the Florida Marlins. This time it's Dan Uggla off Ayala. Same spot just about as Wes Helms. That pads the lead down to 4-2 in the top of the 8th inning. No one out at Shea.
Good news score from Shea. The Marlins by 2 now in the 8th. The Brewers with a door open here. 2 gone, runner at first, and here's Ryan Braun. And there's a drive into left field. This is hit well, and it's gone! Ryan Braun! A 2-run home run! The Brewers take the lead! He's delivered in the clutch all season.
Unbelievable. That kid is unbelievable. He got a breaking ball up in the zone and hammering it on out of here. This is an incredible experience here at Miller Park today.
Fans start to believe.
Unreal.
Now you're 3 outs away from a victory. Braun delivers a monster home run. He said the walk-off grand slam was the biggest of his life. I think he's got a new one on the board.
That might be a second. And you knew as soon as he hit it, it was out of here.
37th home run of the year for Ryan Braun.
And because Dale Swaim had Sabathia lead off the inning, you've got the big fella out there for the 9th. Guy knows what he's doing, doesn't he? He knows what he's doing.
Fielder down to the count, a ball and 2 strikes.
I mean, if you're Dale Swaim sitting in that dugout, you're saying, I'm going to win this game somehow. It's going to be a home run probably. With the way things are going, you send CC to lead off the inning. If he makes an out, so be it. But if you get the home run, you got the big guy out there for the 9th. Unbelievable move.
Ready to go in the 9th. Fielder trying to give him a little more. 3-1 the Brewers lead. And Fielder is down on strikes, and the stage is set. You don't want to go anywhere right now, people. Braun hits the home run. Sabathia is back on the mound. Ryan Braun hits a 2-run home run for the Brewers. Puts them ahead 3-1. And now Milwaukee just 3 outs away from a winner here against the Cubs today. The top of the order is coming up. Miller Lite, what's on tap? Who knows? Stay with us. We'll let you know. A lot of options. And now Sabathia on the mound for the 9th. And he'll have the top of the order, Soriano, to lead off. Miller Park is as loud as it has ever been.
What an incredible moment at Miller Park. My goodness. Does it get any better?
Dale Swaim decides to let Sabathia hit for himself to start the 8th inning. He strikes out. But now he's on the mound to try to finish it off after Braun's heroics. Boy, all that adrenaline that is just pumping through the Brewers. You have to take it down here. He looks pretty calm.
He's not.
That's an act.
Got a good poker face.
3 balls and a strike. Brewers with a 2-run lead. Sabathia trying to keep the tying run in the on-deck circle.
And then he's got a run to play with. He's only walked 1, and that was Soriano back in the 3rd.
And a little flare into left. Here comes Braun. 1 gone. 2 outs away. Ryan Braun delivers his 37th home run of the year. Had a walk-off grand slam on Thursday. And a 2-run shot that just might win it for the Brewers. And it would be another final at-bat win for Milwaukee. No team in the National League has won more games in their last at-bat than the Brew Crew. Sabathia gets ahead of Terrio. Ryan Terrio singled off Sabathia in the 6th. Ball at 2 strikes.
113 pitches, 14 now for CC Sabathia. That last pitch at 95 miles an hour. Incredible.
Terrio didn't chase. A good pitch by Sabathia. Derek Lee is on deck. Aramis Ramirez is out of the game. It would be a pinch hitter in that spot after Lee. Terrio takes a fastball high. 3-2 the count. Agonizing moments for Brewer fans all over the world. Can CC finish it out? Terrio lines one, a base hit. And the Cubs will bring the tying run to the plate in Derek Lee.
That guy has been a pain in the neck all year. Not just to the Brewers, but to everybody in the middle of this order with all the power. Put on a good at-bat against CC Sabathia and got himself a base hit. Good player. Solomon Torres is ready, but he's just going to watch. He has struggled lately. That's why Sabathia is still out there.
One gone in the 9th. Sabathia to face Derek Lee. Lee grounded into 26 double plays this year. Second most in the National League. Took a big rip at one and he fouls it back.
Now, CC's going to have to earn it with Derek Lee, and it looks like Lou Pinella's got Jim Edmonds out there on deck. He has been a Brewer killer, Jim Edmonds.
Brewers looking for the double play ball to end it. 3-1 Milwaukee, and Lee takes a ball down and away. A change up from Sabathia. Lee able to take it. He's 0 for 3 against Sabathia today. Had a line out in the 1st, a ground out, and a pop-up. Tying run at the plate. Lee's hit 20 home runs this year. Drops a strike in there.
Good change up right on the outside corner. Still has good command.
U.S. Cellular text the booth. We'll answer them after the game. 99693 the short code. 1 ball 2 strikes. On the ground, a chance here. Durham to Hardy to first. In time!
Yes!
The Brewers win!
Yes!
Sabathia! A complete game! And the Brewers beat the Cubs 3-1!
Wow.
Raise a glass, Milwaukee!
What a game! My goodness, they guarantee at least a one game playoff. Unbelievable game here at Miller Park. Incredible atmosphere. What a finish.
Complete game number 10 for Sabathia. Number 7 is a Brewer. On 3 days rest, he finishes one. And the Brewers win a huge one. The 90th win of the year. And now everybody watches and waits while the Mets and the Marlins finish up. Ryan Braun hit a 2-run homer in the 8th to put the Brewers ahead on Bob Howry, his 37th of the season. A 3-1 final. We've got a lot coming up for you, folks. Brewers Live will be on the air as long as we need to be. We will be watching the Mets and the Marlins right now. Let's send it down to Trenny Kusnerick.
CC, what does it feel like to have just pitched the Brewers into, at the very least, a playoff with the Mets who are trailing the Marlins right now?
It feels good. You know, it was a big game. You know, we came out focused, ready to have fun, and it's you know, it's amazing.
Over 120 pitches. How much was it just adrenaline in those last final innings?
I think the whole game was just adrenaline. You know, I felt good the whole game. You know, I was throwing hard, felt pretty good, so I'm just excited.
What can you say about Ryan Braun coming through twice in this homestand to put this team in the position to continue on?
Ryan is a big-time player. You know, big-time guys like that step up when we need them, and, you know, he's right there for us. So, you know, you got to tip your cap to him.
You have to go on 3 days rest again. Think you can do it?
No doubt.
CC, congratulations. Thank you so much. CC Sabathia, a complete game once again. Craig and Davey, over 120 pitches. Let's send it over to you guys.
Well, Trenny, thanks very much. Absolutely tremendous atmosphere here at Miller Park as the Brewers keeping a very close eye, as we all are, on the scoreboard at Shea Stadium right now to see if they're the outright wild card team or if they have to make the trip to New York. But at least they know they're still playing baseball. The season is not over yet.
It's not over yet, and until that game is over with the Mets. But boy, what a fantastic ball game. You know, we're just going to keep our fingers crossed here that this is it, and we're going to the playoffs.
Well, plenty of post-game coverage coming up here on FSN Wisconsin. Standing by with Trenny Kusnerick, the big offensive hero, Ryan Braun. Trenny.
Ryan, what did it feel like? I'm guessing, what does it feel like to hit the biggest home run thus far of your career?
It's incredible, you know. Obviously, CC pitched a phenomenal game. It's great to reward him with the win. Hopefully, obviously, we're still watching the end of the Mets game, but it's means so much to the city, to this organization, and, you know, it was obviously an unbelievable feeling.
This game kind of a microcosm of this season. You guys battling, never giving up.
Yeah, it definitely hasn't come easy. You know, I think we've dealt with adversity well. We've obviously overcome a lot of obstacles, and, you know, don't discount what Ned Yost did to help us get here either. So it means a lot to us as a team, and obviously the world to the city, so we're very proud.
You know, you mentioned Ned Yost, but how about Dale Swaim coming in an extremely difficult situation? How much has he helped you guys get to this point in a short amount of time, but also by being your coach all year?
Yeah, Dale's been phenomenal. You know, obviously we're very comfortable with him. We knew him prior to him becoming the manager. He knew our personalities and our abilities, so, you know, he's obviously been great, and it's nice to reward him with a win like this and hopefully a playoff berth.
How can you even put into words what CC Sabathia has meant to this team this year?
You really can't. You know, he's been on MVP without a doubt. I think he's a Cy Young of this league. I don't care how long he's been here, and he's just been absolutely incredible.
All right, I know you have a Mets game to watch, so thank you very much for joining us, Ryan. Congratulations. Ryan Braun helping the Milwaukee Brewers hopefully get to their first postseason appearance, Reagan Davies. Since I was 5, I don't want to date myself, but since I was a little girl.
All right, Craig, thanks. And we're here in the clubhouse, obviously, because it's so tapered off and protected, the lockers and the TVs. All of the players are in the dining room, the players' dining room. They're all stuffed in there waiting for the final out. Of course, they're watching the Mets game, and just like we're watching the Mets game, and as soon as it ends, if it does end in a Marlins victory, you can bet pandemonium right in here will be here. So we're all ready to go down in the clubhouse.
You got your Teflon shirt on?
I've been looking to get rid of the shirt for years.
Do they make waterproof shirts?
I think goggles are a must now. Champagne stings.
Uh-oh.
So.
Long fly.
Yeah.
And
Here we
it's
go.
over.
Look out, boys.
The Brewers are going to the playoffs in 2008.
How sweet it is.
pictures inside of the Brewers clubhouse. Champagne is popping and spraying. The celebration is underway, and all the fans that stayed here at Miller Park, what a scene. 1982, the last time this team went to the playoffs, and they're finally back. In 1982, there was no wild card. In 2008, there's only one, and it's the Milwaukee Brewers. What a scene in the Brewer clubhouse right now. CC Sabathia, Ryan Braun. There's Corey Hart.
Ben Sheets.
Let's go into that clubhouse now and find Brian Anderson in the middle of the play, Brian.
Oh, man. Does a club owner ever look bad in goggles? That is a beautiful sight.
I grabbed these just in time. It's like, I do some swimming out in the beach in Los Angeles. It's like a wave crashing over your shoulders with all these guys running and spraying champagne on top of you.
Now, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, first of all. When you bought this ball club, this was the moment you lived for. Is it everything you thought it would be?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I try to visualize what this would be, Brian, and nothing can describe, really. Nothing can describe.
Tell me what was going through your mind in those waning moments. The Mets and the Marlins are coming down to the wire. The Brewers are coming down to the wire.
We're watching back and forth, and everybody in the stands is checking their Blackberries or their whatever, Palm Pilots or whatever. There's 1 out, it's 2 outs, and they got this guy up. They just hit a line drive. Minute to minute to minute. Unbelievable. I think around 3:14 today, everything changed for our favor, by the way. 3:14 Central Time.
And you know that time. And there are a lot of people out there watching this coverage right now in that stadium. 3 million fans watching at home as well. What do you have to say to them, Mark?
I just want to thank the fans. Really, we, Doug, Melvin, and I were able to do, and really Doug were able to do this year what we could, because the fans come out to support the team. You can't bring a guy like CC Sabathia in unless the fans come out to support us, and boy did they ever. So what did I say? It's wrong company, but this one's for you.
All right, Craig. Hey, his brother makes pretty good television. I think this guy makes pretty good TV himself. How about that finish?
Not a bad way to script it out at all. Drama to the very end here at Miller Park. Final day of the baseball season, 162 in, and look what kind of celebration we're seeing here at Miller Park, David. This is really unbelievable.
Oh, it certainly is. Boy, this is so outstanding, and I think they got rock with CC.
Let's go down now. Bill Schroeder with CC Sabathia.
CC, what are your thoughts? I mean, tell me how you're feeling right now.
Amazing. This is amazing.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
This has been so fun, just coming here and, the city being embracing me and my family, and, the organization taking us in. It's just been a lot of fun. And
You had to have me get CC first, huh?
that feels good. That's a good feeling right there.
CC, what went on in that dugout when you thought, you were going to lead off the 8th inning? Did you have a discussion with Dale, or you just went out there right away?
That's how I felt. I told him I felt good. He said, all right, well, you leading off. And, I was just trying to make sure I stayed calm and make some good pitches.
3 days rest again, maybe in Philly?
No doubt.
Go get him, big guy. Good job. CC Sabathia.
All right, Bill Schroeder. He's looking good in the champagne. That whole clubhouse is right now. 26 years later, and the Brewers are finally going to the playoffs. That is just a tremendous, tremendous accomplishment. 90 victories, and I think a lot of people, Davey, before the season began, predicting where teams would fall in the National League Central, and as it all played out, isn't it a perfect scene to see the top 2 teams go the way it really should have been all season long?
That's exactly right. The Cubs and the Brewers having the best record in the National League, and the thing about it is, it would have been a shame if the Brewers wouldn't have been able to pull this out, because they played so well, a little inconsistent, but basically played very well, especially when they needed to down the stretch.
And We certainly touched a little bit about what some of the veterans meant when Dale Swaim decided to put Mike Cameron and Ray Durham at the top of the order, Davey. In the 7th and 8th inning, they score the runs. They get on base. It was the veterans doing the job and leading the way up front and setting the stage for Ryan Braun's big home run in the eighth.
Oh, boy, for it. You know, the thing about it, when you look at those veteran players, Craig, you look at Mike Cameron, they went out to get him. They needed a center fielder, Jason Kendall. Then they purchased Durham. So those guys and Craig Counsell, all the veterans here have all been through a lot of this. And boy, they added, with Dale Swaim taking over these last 12 games, added this certain calmness. But I know the veteran players, Cameron and Durham, appreciated him by having that confidence in them to put them at the top of the lineup to see that they're going to be able to do a job.
Speaking of veteran players, guys, got a World Series ring, and Jeff Suppan pitched on Friday, setting the stage for Friday's big victory. He's in the clubhouse as well with Brian Anderson.
All right, thanks a lot, Craig. Jeff Suppan, you felt the sting of Champaign before. Now as a Brewer, and you know what has gone into this season and all of these years, 26 years. Give us your thoughts in this moment.
Nothing's been better in my life than this moment right here with Brewers. I tell you what, we fought hard all year long. The fans were behind us the whole way. Of course, you have your ups and downs, but this has been beautiful. The fans are all outside waiting for us, so we're going to go celebrate with them too. But this has been awesome.
Give me your thoughts. You come back, you pitch a huge game against the Cubs when the ball club needed you most. How's your health? Where do you stand? How much are you looking forward to this postseason?
Hey, every day's a new day, and I tell you what, I feel good. And I tell you what, CC did a fantastic job. He really carried us, and he deserves all the credit. I mean, he's done a great job. You know, now it's just day by day.
Is that what you tell these guys who haven't been there because you do have that experience?
That's what I would tell them day by day. That's all we got.
Jeff Suppan, everybody.
All right, Brian, thanks very much. And now the players are making their way out here to the field. You got to have a little public celebration, don't you?
Well, that's exactly right. And what a great gesture by the players to come out and just, boy, they are just rocking.
Speaking of rocking, so's the Prince Fielder with Bill Schroeder.
How's the champagne feel in the eyes, Prince?
Oh, I love it. It burns so good.
It's amazing. I mean, how you carried this offense on your back the last 10 days or so, it's been amazing. I mean, it took somebody like yourself to get it going, and you did it.
Yeah, I'm just, I was just trying to win, and I'm just happy we were able to come through. But, I don't think without CC, and Bron and, Ben and the rest of the guys, Cam, I don't think we were able to do it. I'm just glad, they were able to come through.
10 days ago, a lot of people doubting you guys being able to get off the mat, but it was amazing how you guys responded in this homestand. How much of Dale Swaim was a part of that turnaround?
I mean, he's a big part of it because, the first day he was the man, got to be the manager. He told us he doesn't care what we do. He don't care if we swing at balls in the dirt. He don't care if we make errors. As long as we play hard, he's with us 100%. When you hear that, you can just be comfortable.
Nice job, big fella. You did the job. We'll see you in Philadelphia. Nice job. We're over to Brian Anderson with Ryan Braun.
Actually, we're with Dale Swaim right now, Rock. And Dale Swaim, you take over this ball club with 12 days. You go 7-5. You said when you took over, it was going to be small ball. But you won with the long ball today.
Yeah, I was lying, I guess. We didn't get enough people on to do small ball. These guys, it was fun. Obviously, we hit 3 of the biggest home runs in the history of the Brewers in this last homestand. And Bronny hit 2 of them, and Prince hit 1. But, that performance by CC is probably one of the greatest performances of all time.
Now, I'm looking at you, and you're shaking, and you look like a cool, calm customer throughout this game. We commented about that ease that you have, but tell me what this means for you.
Well, I mean, it's probably one of the greatest days in my life as far as baseball goes. I've been fortunate to win a couple other World Series, but obviously the way we did this, getting the playoffs, the character of this team and the players and the organization and Mark bringing CC on, obviously, was a difference in our season.
You give a lot of credit to your father who passed away. You have tattoos in memory of him. What would he say to you right now, you think?
I mean, he would have said, give him hell today, and that's what I wrote up on the board today for the players. Just something my dad told me all the time, and so it's he'd be calmer than anybody in the stadium. He probably wouldn't even. He would probably just walked out to his car and gone home and talked to me later.
Says on your T-shirt, wild card champs. You're headed to the postseason as a skipper, Dale.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Obviously, it's something we dreamed of, and obviously I got thrown into the fire here. And, you know, it's just a dream come true. When I left here in '91, I always wanted to be a Milwaukee Brewer again, and in some capacity as a coach or whatever it was. And now, obviously, it's a dream, just a fantasy world right now.
Any thoughts on a Game 1 starter?
Nah, I haven't even thought about it yet. I'm still celebrating.
Well, here's a candidate. Let's send it out to Trini Kusneric.
Brian Anderson, a very, very champagne-drenched Trini with Giovanni Gallardo. Yo, what is this experience been like?
It's unbelievable. You know, the fans have been great to us all year. We came up short last year and came back this year ready to play. And, you know, I know we were struggling, but, you know, it's things that happen during the season. But, I mean, you know, we're going to come here and celebrate right now.
What's the best way to describe just today, the roller coaster ride?
I mean, it's unbelievable. CC threw a great game. You know, we were able to get some bats together. And, you know what, like I said, you know, we're going to take it one day at a time and we're going to enjoy today.
When you went down in May in Chicago, did you ever imagine that you would be in this position right now?
Yeah, you know what, that's one of the goals that I had set in mind to myself. You know, I was going to do everything possible to get the opportunity to come back and help this team out, whatever case may be. And like I said, thanks to the medical staff and all the training staff, they pushed me every day and gave me the opportunity to come out and start on Thursday. So that was great.
How confident are you that you'll now be able to make a start in the postseason?
You know what, I'm pretty confident. You know, like I said, I mean, we're going to enjoy today and worry about that other stuff tomorrow. And you know, it's a great day for the whole city of Milwaukee today.
All right, go celebrate and drink some more champagne, yo. Congratulations, Craig Davey. Back over to you.
All right, Trini, thanks very much. Celebration continues here at Miller Park. This is quite a scene as the Brewers are going to the playoffs. They're the wild card qualifier of all the teams in baseball. Not many get to go. It's not like all the other sports, only 4. Pretty special. Three amigo combination out here. Ricky Weeks, J.J. Hardy, and Corey Hart. And guys, congratulations first and foremost. Wow, what more can you say right now, Rick?
I mean, I can't say nothing right now. You know, we've been waiting for this for a long time. We finally did it, especially in front of a crowd like this. The fans been great. Everything's been great. It's special moment right now.
JJ, what was it like for you? You guys obviously won this ball game. Then you go into the clubhouse, watch the final out, that Mets final out. What was it like in there for you?
I mean, this has just been unbelievable. The fact that we can do this with all the guys, we all get along so great. I think it just makes it even better that we're doing this with all of our friends. And gosh, 26 years for the fans, for everyone in Milwaukee. This is just great.
This has to be, Corey, a dream come true to have 3 of you guys standing here together, because you've been waiting, these fans have been waiting, and here you are.
Oh, that's incredible. I mean, we've been playing all year for this, and the fans have been waiting for it, and we're so excited to be a part of this and be able to, bring a winning team back to Milwaukee.
All right, congratulations. You guys continue to celebrate. Let's go back inside the clubhouse right now to the veteran now, Jason Kendall with Bill Schroeder.
Jason, what an experience. I mean, that had to be the most electric atmosphere that we've seen around here in Milwaukee. What was it from your vantage point?
It's unbelievable. I think what CC did today was pretty special. He's done that since he's been here. But just the fans, the way we won it. I mean, I was still kind of nervous, though, because the Mets were in the top of the 8th. And, we didn't have 2 hits all game. And then Brian came up with this. So, I mean, it can happen that quick. But it's one thing getting there. It's hard. It's been a grind. And it's one of those things where we busted our butts all year, and we're in a good situation now, and just kind of go out and see what happens now.
CC Sabathia, I mean, have you ever seen a pitching performance from the end of July until today like Sabathia has put together?
It's they weren't taking the ball away from him, I'll tell you that much. No, it's pretty amazing. But I think number one is the type of person he is, and I think the first day he came over here, he fit in unbelievable. And you got to tip Doug for getting him over here, and we're headed to going on and see what happens.
What are you going to do? You got 2 days off. That's something you're not used to. I mean, you're going to go out and maybe catch BP for a high school team or something?
I'm going to go home and enjoy the family and have a couple beers.
Good job. Well deserved. We'll see you in Philadelphia. Go get them, buddy. All right, Trini.
Rock, thank you very much. I'm here with Jim Skalin. Jim, how proud are you of your young hitters and the way they responded the last couple of weeks with their backs against the wall?
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And big hits the last week and all throughout the season, but credit the pitching staff for keeping us close and keeping us in the game until we could get those big hits. It gave us confidence, CC today and the other guys, especially this last week. And you know, a lot of pressure. Guys haven't been in this situation before. There's a lot of stuff going on that they haven't been exposed to, but we got it done, and they're the best. They're the absolute best.
At what point did you know that Ryan Braun's hit was a home run, the game-winning home run?
As soon as it left his bat, there's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt. You know, when he puts that swing on it and he squares it up, you know. I had my fist in the air as soon as that swing was finished. So give Bronny, give Prince, give all these guys credit, because there were so many huge hits, and they never gave up. You know, we went through some rocky times, and you know, there was a lot of doubt and you know, questions and this and that. These guys never doubted themselves, and that's all that really matters.
All right, Ski, thanks for joining us. From the hitting coach to the pitching coach, who's inside with BA.
All right, thanks a lot, Trini, here with Mike Maddox. And Mike, just Ski talked a little bit about the turnover and the change and the anxiety you guys must have felt, you know, when Dale Swaim takes over. Give me your perspective from this seat right now.
Well, I tell you what, it's been a crazy 2 weeks. I can just say that. You know, you play all season long, 161 games, and it comes down to one game. And, you know, today we were better than they were. And fortunately, the Marlins were better than the Mets, you know. So here we go to the playoffs, and thanks to the fans that supported us all year long, man. Without them, we'd have never made it.
You spent 16 years in the big leagues. Your brother's headed to the Hall of Fame. Give me perspective on the performance of CC Sabathia, not only today, but down the stretch for this club.
Phenomenal, man. He personified himself today, man. He's a big game pitcher, a big game guy, and a big man with a big heart. And he showed it today, man. He's all about winning, and, you know, without him, we wouldn't be here celebrating.
Give us an idea of the conversation that you guys had in the eighth inning when CC is set to lead off, whether you pinch hit for him or not, and how that decision was swayed to let CC hit.
Well, there comes a time, you know, Dell asked me, he goes, what do you think, you know, and he was hoping I said what he wanted to do. He was going to do it anyway, but you got to ride that stallion, man. And he rode us into the sunset right there. It was nice.
All right, well, you sprayed some champagne before, first time as a coach. Congratulations, Mike Maddox.
I appreciate it. Thanks to the fans, man.
Out to Craig and Davey.
All right, Brian, thanks very much. We're out here with Seth McClung, one of the pitching heroes of Friday night's victory. And tell you what, Seth, what is this like to witness as a player?
This is awesome. I mean, we got the fans out here cheering us on.
Here we go.
This is what it's all about. It doesn't get any better than this.
I love it. No, it doesn't.
This is awesome. You're going to have to get those suits cleaned now.
Yeah. Well, we know where to get that taken care of. Well, listen, talk about, you know, Friday night. I mean, you guys obviously needed as many victories as possible here in Milwaukee, and Jeff Suppan got the start, and I think a lot of people thought it was going to be the entire bullpen doing the job, but you took care of the final 4 innings. How much did you just bear down to get the job done?
Well, I can't see Soup got me right in the eye. He did a great job with that. Thank you, David. I had to get Dale to leave me alone, but after I got Dale to go back in the dugout, I was just having fun out there, and I really enjoyed it. I love being a part of this team. You feed off everybody's energy, and it's just, I mean, look around. This is awesome.
Hey, let me ask you, what did you think of CC's performance today?
Oh, you know, I don't have the vocabulary to quantify how great of a performance that was tonight. And the last 3 starts, I mean, he's going on 3 days rest. If he doesn't watch out, teams are going to start going to a 3-man rotation.
Seth, congratulations. Enjoy.
Thank you. This is awesome. Thank you, Milwaukee.
All right.
All right, let's go over now to Trini Kuznerek standing by with the general manager. I'll put it all together, Doug Melvin.
Doug Melvin, you just told me you haven't even seen CC Sabathia yet. What are you going to say to him when you do see him?
Well, I got to try to reach up to him and give him a big bear hug and say thank you. I think it's the most unselfish athlete that probably in the history of this game, when you sit down and think of what he did for our ball club and our organization.
Doug, what is this moment like for you this day? What is it like for you?
Well, you know, it means a lot to the fans here that have been here for the 26 years waiting for playoffs. I've only been here 6 years, so I see the employees, I see the fans that have waited for this, and it means a lot to me. There's players that aren't here that helped us get to this point. Dale did a great job with 12 games left under a tough situation. Ned had 93% of this season and had a 16 games over 500 and gave us a chance. Hey, Ryan. Hey, congrats. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. You deserve a lot of credit for getting us to this. Thank you. And Ned did a great job. Dale's done a great job, and that's what I'm saying. I wish Ned could be here with us and that, and I still got to give him a lot of credit. Dale a lot of credit. The coaching staff, emotional roller coaster for everybody. But look what it came out to be.
Doug, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Let's go back to Brian Anderson in the clubhouse.
Well, they're still spraying champagne and brewskis here in the clubhouse, and I'm with Mike Cameron. Cameron, you've had the opportunity to do this a few times, but tell us how it is as a Milwaukee Brewer.
It's special, to take part of history with this team. It's been a special team all year. We found ways to ride the highs and get through the lows, man. And this opportunity doesn't really come too often, so I hope everyone cherishes this moment. It's been 26 years since this opportunity came for us, and I'm just glad to be a very, very big part of this.
Let's go over now to Trenny Kusnieruk with more post-game reaction. Trenny?
Here we go. Thanks very much, guys. I'm here with Eric Gagne. Eric, what is it like to run out on the field and celebrate with the fans? You've really taken them under the wing, the 5,000 tickets, bringing them into the celebration.
Well, that's what it's all about. I think these guys have been through a turnstile about, 3 million times, so it's pretty special. And 26 years. 26 years is pretty special. And I was fortunate enough to be in 4 of these, so it's just unbelievable. It just gets better and better every year.
Speaking of unbelievable, how unbelievable is it what CC Sabathia has done the last week and a half?
Unbelievable is it's not really a good word for it. I think it's, you can't even expect that from any human being. I think he's just stepped up his game, and that's the way he does it. I mean, he's always done that. We all know that. We try not to expect anything from him, but he's just unbelievable. I mean, he stepped up and he won all the games for us, and he's our MVP, I think, in the second half. Easy.
Eric, thank you so much for joining us. Let's go inside to Rock, who's standing by with Robin Yount.
Hey, Robin, it has to be an exciting time for you. Now, Dale Swaim gets the job as interim manager. He gives you a call. What was going on with that conversation?
The first thing he said, "Are you sitting down?" I said, "Well, I'm still in bed. Does that count as sitting down?" And you mentioned the scenario. And that's me. I came back and year I helped him out. So it wasn't an easy. I mean, it wasn't a hard call. I mean, as soon as he said, "Of course I would come back." It was a little disappointing, but that Ned had to go out the way he did. But you know what? Certain things happen sometimes, and when Dale was asked to be there, I was excited to come back. Being in a pennant race, this is what you hope for, and I got to cheerlead all along the way.
What was the mindset of the ball club? I mean, they come off a rough road trip and come back home and play lights out. I mean, the guys never lost confidence.
Well, I've been watching this team on on the computer and and listening on XM radio all year, and it's not the first time that I think that these guys have done that. Baseball can certainly be a roller coaster ride at times, and it was the timing was pretty good to hit the peak of the roller coaster.
Last day of the season, 82, you hit 2 big home runs. Ryan Braun comes up. I mean, what's that feel like?
Well, I didn't do it quite as late in the game, in a close game, as he did. You'll have to ask him about that one, but it certainly feels good to play, to play a decent game when everything's on the line, and he certainly came up big for us today.
Robin, good luck in Philadelphia.
All right, we're looking forward to it.
Go get him, buddy.